notice that, the HR accounting line query is in financials. The others all are in HCM, but this is just a checklist of, hey, you got to reallocate expenditures and you want to get the details. This is where you're going to find it. But okay, I think I just have one more slide. But the key is going to be communication. As Shuba has mentioned, right? You're going to have to make sure that you're talking with payroll, that everybody's on the same page to know where to charge time, so that people have, if they're using speed types, they know which speed types to use, and you run the query there to, see which speed types are available, and just make sure that they know. I mean, there's no substitute for just communication, and probably over communication right now, just to make sure everything happens, smoothly on a timely basis. We'll get used to it, just like with financials, those of you that remember that. I mean, it just takes some time. It is a little bit new, but again, it's going to hopefully save us all a lot of time in the long run. So I think that's my last slide. So talked as fast as I can, Shuba. Sorry, we've got about 10 minutes left.
I didn't give you too much time at all because of the how demanding the HR processing is. But thank you so much, Steve. That's fantastic. A lot of the hard work was done by Courtney, and unfortunately, she's not been well today. But we are here to answer your questions. So you've got a few options. Those of you, we can stay back for 15, 20 minutes additional if you don't, if you don't have a hard stop at 12. If you do, what we're planning to do, Latoya, keep me honest here, is to have a question and answer session on Friday, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, where time and labor, payroll, and accounting can ask the questions. But if there's something immediate that you want to ask, we can go through that quickly now.
So Shuba, we have about 15 questions in the chat that haven't been answered. Brandy and Teresa have been doing a great job of trying to answer what they can as we're going along. Thank you for that. So Latoya, do you want to try to get through? I have a list in order of the people who asked their questions.
Go ahead. Why don't you call them out?
Let's see if we can get through them. So if you do have a question in the chat that hasn't been answered yet, please be ready to quickly unmute so we can get through it as quick as possible. So we'll start with Terry Dunn. You had a question. It was at 8:22. I know I'm going to ask you to remember something from a long time ago.
Yeah, this is Terry. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. My question is, and I think I sent an email to Paula a while back, but I just wanted to confirm. So we don't use the financial side of it. So do I need to worry about any of the B types or anything on that?
I'm not sure I understand. You don't use the finance?
We don't use the financial part of it.
What's your business unit, Terry?
Yeah, Shuba, this is your Hoosier Lottery, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I saw State Museum had similar questions. I mean, they're separate entities from the state, but they use our payroll services. So I mean, I think, I don't want to speak for AOS, but I would think that, you just need to coordinate with them. If you just have one default accounting string that people hit now, I mean, I think you'd want to create, a speed type so everybody's time hits a certain spot, and then, just like it does now. I mean, it happens kind of behind the scenes. So I think we'll just need to make sure that there's at least one valid speed type associated with yours. I mean, I think, again, on our side, I think it's probably the same one, just one line. I know State Museum mentioned that they used projects when they record their time, but I think it'd be the same thing. Again, I don't want to speak for Courtney, but we'll have to someone will have to be entering speed types for you, since you don't use finance. You aren't in finance to enter them for yourself.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, we'll have to follow up.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Laura Crawford, you actually dropped 3 questions starting at 9:49. If you're still on.
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my first question was about the department position table, because he had the fiscal year on there. Do we have to create a new one of those every fiscal year?
No, so there is a process in HCM where we copy over the accounting information for the next fiscal year. That process is going to be part of the payroll checklist that we provide them, or can be done. So if your accounting information for that position, let's say position 100025, right, is attached to speed type XYZ, and you just need the next year's fiscal year to be the same for every other piece of information is the same, position is the same, speed type is the same, just a fiscal year begin and end date changes, that can be run at the beginning of the new fiscal year.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, I don't know that we're still working on the process, Laura, but we're hoping to be able to run SQL or do something to just, roll the budget reference forward for everyone, so we
Okay.
don't have to start all over. I mean, that's our hope. I mean, like I said, I don't know that, I don't know that we've got it all ironed out yet, but we're hoping to.
Okay. My next question then was, do we have to put something on there every time there's a new hire, or just if it's a new hire in a brand new position? If it's a position that existed before, but it's been vacant a while, does that position fall off the table?
I think the
I would like
position-
I would like any SPD person to answer that, but I think Brandy, I don't see Sally Burnell here, do you? Or Jeff Wolting? I would say that the position, if the position is going to be assigned to a new hire and the position information is the same, you don't have to do anything. But if the employee is new and the position is new, you probably have to set them up in a new, in the department budget table. That's why the query that Kofi ran is important to you.
Because we have a lot of positions we reuse, because they're intermittent and they come back every year. So
Yeah.
if they
Yeah.
fall off, I don't want them to fall off, I don't think.
No, I don't think the positions will be inactivated, but we can check that and confirm that with
You guys
SPD and let
keep-
you know.
You guys keep those same positions out there, right? They just sit vacant until you put people in them again.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah,
The-
so
the-
as long as the bud ref is updated on all of those, you should be good if you want them to keep the same structure.
The
Okay.
main thing would be is if there were any adjustments to the department that position is attached to as well. That's the combo. It's the position department combo that's got to be tied to department position.
Okay, so we should check for at least for the first few and make sure that it's still recent. Okay. Okay, that makes sense to me. And if I had another question, I forgot what it was.
Okay, Maureen Bennett. Are you still with us?
She's here. She's on mute. Maureen, do you still want a question answered?
Her question in the chat says, will these all be set up for go live and then we would add any new or if changes were needed?
That's correct. So whatever you provided, Courtney, and has been distilled down to the integration team will be set up. Deltas you'll have to keep maintaining and adding.
Sorry, it wouldn't let me unmute a minute ago, but yes, that answers my question. Thank you.
Welcome.
Melissa Bolby? I think you had a question about job aids.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think he already answered our questions about projects and how we're going to deal with that. That's really our only question. Thanks.
Melissa, you're from State Museum, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. We'll someone will need to follow up with Lottery and State Museum just to make sure that we have, whatever speed types, they need set up are set up.
I'm working on
Thanks.
that ticket right now.
Okay,
for
great.
her.
Thank you.
Tina Austin. I know we're moving quick, but we're trying to get through all of you in 2 more minutes.
I just wanted to know if the current system has a place where we can save the personalizations so we don't have to constantly type in the chart field strings. Will that be available in this new system?
The personalizations you're talking about in the timesheet.
Yes.
So I think there is a my personalization field, right, Dave? Let me go off full screen and see. Let me see if I can. You're talking about, you can save links here.
I think she's talking, Shuba, I think she's talking about like the pre-population method, like the prior period and stuff like that. I
Yeah,
think that's what she's referring to.
yes, you can. So you can go to my preferences and time and labor, and you can do your pre-population here. Is that what she's talking about?
So we don't have to code the speed type every single time. Is that correct?
Well, the coding, you still have to select a speed type every single time
In the time.
because there is no default here for that. I don't
So-
know if in this current system, Brandy and Missy, keep me honest here, whether they were actually setting it up as some kind of they were future entering time. Is that what it was?
No,
I
what they
didn't
were
think-
doing is using the pre-population for the prior period, and it took what they entered on the prior pay period and it brought it forward on the next pay period. So they didn't really have to enter anything.
Right, you can still do that. So if I was there actually. When you got the default from schedule, you can do default from prior period. That's what you're talking about. You seeing what I'm saying? See?
Yeah, I'm seeing what you're seeing. I think that's what she was talking about is the prior period, that it's gonna take it and pre-populate it to the next period.
Well,
Yeah,
right now, we actually do, it's kind of like a template that we save as a preference. So there is no data in it when we bring it up for the next pay period. As far as
which
But
agency are you with?
the chart field strings are still there every single time we pull it up.
Okay. No, in the future, I think you should select a chart field string from the speed type provided you by, because you want to make sure that it's accurate for this pay period, right? So you should get it, whether if you're an employee, you should get it from your line manager or agency payroll. Agency payroll will be told by fiscal officers what to select. I hope that answers your question.
Okay.
Alan Aiken?
I had the same question that Maureen did, but can I ask another one real quick?
Sure.
I was told in a previous meeting, I don't know who was with, or maybe I dreamed it last night. When employees transfer to an agency in the middle of pay period on maintained time reporter, we will use the effective date of the second Sunday. And then the first week's expenses will hit the agency they came from, and the second week will hit our agency. So we don't have to worry about billing back and forth. Is that
No.
accurate?
Yes, the effective date of when the transfer takes place, if it's done accurately in job data and the job data position now reflects the correct business unit to which you're being transferred or your employee is being transferred, that is reflected in the time and labor system with the correct effective date, that should work to make sure your charge codes reflect your new assignment versus your old assignment.
Okay,
Everything depends upon timing and sequencing.
so we no
So the-
longer have to bill as long as the system's updated, maintained, time reporter is updated correctly.
In a timely
It's-
manner.
Except, are you talking about moving business units, Alan?
Yes.
So Shuba, I think if they move business units in the middle of a pay period, when we go to post to the journals, it does cause a header issue. So unless we
Right.
figure that.
Right. And
There
that's-
has
that's-
been an issue that I think Teresa can speak to better, where if they've got in the middle of the pay period, but the effective dating should take care of that. And that's something that we can address as we go along. So Teresa, are you able to speak to the experience that we had during testing?
Yeah,
Where
during
an employee-
testing, yeah, what we found was, and I thought that we had already decided what our business process is going to be, is that yes, somebody might be moving on day 7 of a 14-day pay period to another BU, but they will still need to be kept and paid for out of the current, prior business unit. And then you will have to do a reallocation to pay the rest of the days out and reallocate that to the other business unit through a GL journal. So the payroll will still go through on the existing, and then, so we have to do full pay periods is my understanding of in that situation, and then do journals to pay back.
So nothing's
Okay.
changed.
Right.
In
The
that
thing about that
particular
is,
scenario, no.
Okay,
If-
I'm sorry, this is 12:05, or I'm sorry, but if so, the time reporter will code the first Sunday of the pay period, even though the PeopleSoft Workforce Administration page will actually show the second week of the pay period.
no, we can't change that. If we change job data or we change the maintain time reporter, that's how it will go through to payroll. So if we need to keep that employee intact in that business unit, that change would have to occur at the beginning of the next pay period, and there would have to be some sort of handshake between the agencies.
That's interesting. Okay. I guess we'll all have to work it out, I guess.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you, and I'm
more to
so-
come on that, Alan, because the system allows you to do it. So we're kind of struggling with what the business process should be since we have limitations on the GL side.
Okay. Well, this affects all agencies, and I apologize everybody for keeping you over. Thanks.
No. We're setting aside this time for those who can stay and ask questions.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, we are 5 minutes over. We have 5 other questions. Do we want to keep going?
I'm happy to answer any questions if there's no hard stop at 12.
Ethan Simcox, you're the next one, but I'm not sure. Yours might have been specific about an example they were going through at that moment. It was at 10:08 or 10:38 when you asked the question, if you're still with us. Okay, I'm gonna move on. If he unmutes, then we'll come back to him. Sarah Dare, yours was at 11:04, so let me scroll through the chat here. Are you still with us, Sarah?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes. So my question was, whenever he was doing, or whenever you guys were doing the triangle thing where you were saying if they don't put in the speed type, then it moves down to the, I can't remember what everything's called, but they'll use chart fields based off of, I think it was profile type, and then move down to the next one. So if they don't enter their speed type, is there some sort of query or some sort of notice that we're going to get that says, hey, this person didn't enter a speed type, or will it automatically just, go down that to the next?
Yes, I get what you're saying. I get what you're asking.
Okay.
So I do. I mean, because we've been going through this for months now. There is reported time, which is the timesheet time. There's payable time, which is coming from defaults or from reported time. The reported time is the timesheet. Employee is supposed to include a by speed type. He doesn't do so. And you want to know that his account code was a blank. That's what you want to know, that the timesheet was a blank. So this
Right.
query that I told you about, the reported time combo code,
Okay.
that will show you whether the employee had entered a speed type on the timesheet or not. That's your step one. On Friday, you'll also get another query which says, time was submitted without a speed type, approved, went to time administration, went to payable time. And in the payable time, you will see another query that we showed you, which is payable time to chart fields. And that will show you that this employee did not enter time, which is in the reported time query, but it went through and picked up the defaults from the task profile. And the task profile defaults then hit the chart fields in payable time. So those two queries will show you.
So those are queries that like AOS is going to run and send to us, or those are queries that I can run?
You can run that. Somebody keep me honest here. Paula, Shannon, Brandy, they can run this off the work center, right? The time and labor work center. So let me go here for a second.
I'm sorry, what are you trying to run?
Will the agency fiscal officers have access to run the queries, the time and labor queries from the Time and Labor Work Center?
Right now, we have not given those folks access to the Time and Labor Work Center unless they are also an agency payroll person. We can certainly
I'll be both.
talk. I'm sorry, what?
That's my case. I'll be
Yep.
both.
Then yes, you will absolutely have it. If you are fiscal staff that is not also agency payroll, then you would just have to go to the query viewer to be able to see those queries.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Kim Logan.
Yeah, so you see where you've got, this is the Time and Labor Work Center, guys. You see where it says SOI 92 queries. Can you all see my screen?
No, you're not sharing, Shuba.
Oh. Now, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
So we made it possible, and as Brandy said, for the agency payroll people to have access to run all of these queries. The TL exceptions will tell you whether somebody's got exceptions which relate back to invalid chart fields. The reported time chart fields is the one I was talking about, which has the reported time, which is, when I say reported, I mean timesheet. When I say payable, I mean the washed, validated information that's going over to payable time. This will show you what chart fields are assigned on the timesheet. And then TL payable time with chart field distribution. This is your third important query, which actually shows you, what chart fields and a string of time has been assigned to. And this could be defaults from the task profile, or it could come directly from the speed type assigned on the timesheet. Lowest level timesheet, second level task profile on the maintained time reported data, your time and labor enrollment record. Third level, the default on the task group. Fourth level, your department budget table and your position level default. Is that making sense? Okay, go on, Liz, next question.
Okay, Kim Logan, Brandy was answering your question. Did she get it answered for you as we were going through right here? I think she was
Yes,
doing it now.
she did.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Louise Gray.
I can't unmute. Yep. Oh, there
Yep.
I am. I think my question was answered. Thank you.
Okay, Susan Rich. It was around 11:18.
My question was, we have an MOU. It's not associated with a project. Part of my question, I think you answered, I can't set up a speed type with the same chart field. Correct?
You cannot have two speed type keys with the same string of chart fields. No.
Okay, so our agency, the employees are primarily attorneys, and I wanted to be able to kind of watch how much time they're spending in different tasks, but not, I mean, the expense would all be the same, but is there a way that I would be able to track how much time they spend in a certain, not a project, but maybe a certain task?
So Brandy, can they use the rule element 3 or 5 for that? But that is, future, right?
How about a department?
They don't care about the actual combo code or speed type. They're talking about just a particular task.
Yeah, but that wouldn't translate to financials. I mean, if
No.
that's,
Right,
if they want to just track that in time and labor, the rule element would probably be okay, I suppose, but it wouldn't translate over to financials.
This is Sarah Dara. Our agency's kind of the same way. I mean, we have some that we do charge, but we have some that we wouldn't necessarily charge. They'd all go to the same fund, I guess. So we set up different programs and then connected those to the speed types. So we got all these different speed types that, you know, it's the same fund at the end of the day, but then all the programs are different depending on what like task that we want it to go to. Does that make sense?
Like dummy programs or dummy projects or?
No, they're programs. It's a program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we just have, you know, like before we only had a handful of programs, but now that we are this system, we have quite a few programs for each of our different, like before they were our tasks. So we kind of set those up to that so we could still see what people are putting time into different tasks that maybe we don't necessarily allocate to different projects or funds.
Okay, that makes sense.
That sounds like an actual program that will be approved by your agency finance manager and set up as a program chart field with the appropriate description on the chart of accounts on the financial side, correct, Teresa?
Yes.
That sounds like an approved program. So that will hit your financials, yes.
And that's kind of the direction that Indiana State Museum is going as well. They're adding a whole bunch of new programs. Same chart field string, and the only difference is the program code. So yeah, that's a viable solution if that's how you want to do it.
How would one employee use both of those? So some of the time they're working in this task, and another time they're just doing their regular job.
They would be picking different speed types when they submit their time.
Okay, so I would set up a speed type, and the difference would be the program.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Hey, David Nelson.
Yes, I had a question mainly concerning federal draw billing. So one was when will the payroll journal be dated? Will that be the pay date?
Yep. The HCM journal that we process will, kind of like it is today, it's going to be dated for the check date, the pay date, and the processes to take it over to project costing and into all of those tables will happen after the journal is posted. And I believe.
So.
It will be posted before the pay date.
So Dave, those HCM journal would not be eligible to cost collect into project costing until the SOIPC_friend process run to change the PC to script status from I to N, because those HCM journal will have a I PC to script status. This process will not run until Tuesday afternoon at 6 o'clock. And then after that process run to flip the flag and to force the analysis type, because those journal will not have a GLE analysis type. It will change the analysis type. And then after that process, and then cost collection will run to bring it in. And that process is not going to run until 9 o'clock at night. So these journal would not be available in project costing until Wednesday morning, and would be available to push through fund distribution on Wednesday.
So the process to change the flag to make it eligible for federal draw billing will occur at 9 p.m. Tuesday before the pay date.
The process would run Tuesday night to be ready for Wednesday morning.
All right, that answers it. Thanks.
Well, okay. And I just want to put a caveat on that, and to ask for all of your patience as we run through these processes the first time or two. That is our goal. You know, we want to get to where we're fast and everything's going to run smoothly without any hitches. And we'll have journals ready for everybody to do all of their recon and all of their analysis for that Wednesday, just like we do today. But bear with us. I don't want to guarantee that everything's going to run smoothly that first time, but that is our goal, to get it as fast as possible and stick to our current schedule of how things happen for y'all.
Yeah, because Dave, that process, the French process that I mentioned, it cannot run until the journal have been posted and valid. So until then, even, I'm saying Tuesday night, but if it's not posted and valid, it will not process, it will not flip that flag.
And we
So
expect
that's,
there'll be some differences in May and June.
just depending on how quickly Teresa get those HCM journal processed.
Yeah, thanks, Rita. No pressure.
Sure.
Right, does that answer it for you, David?
Yes, it does.
Okay, great. Josh? Yours was about having the presentation emailed. I believe they're going to make a link available for the PowerPoint presentation as well as the live stream. Latoya, I think you could probably speak on that afterwards, I believe.
Yes, this is Latoya. Hi, everybody. We will have this presentation posted on the Microsoft stream that you have available. The PowerPoint deck I'll be handing over to Janetta, and she should be putting that on the JAM site. If everyone does not have access to the JAM site, I can put the instructions in the chat. And then finally, the question and answers that you've been asking and we've been giving throughout this time, we will post that on the JAM as well.
Hey, Andrea? Sure if we lost her, because I know some people may have needed to drop.
Yeah, so her question regarding searching by description, I believe that is a field on the search page in HCM when they're searching for speed types. But we also have a query that everybody will have access to actually run a query for your speed types, and you'll be able to see that description. See that description from your query data. So that's another way to get that info.
Right, and I think the last one is Katie Byers, and I think Brandy's been working with her in the chat. Katie, has your question been answered, or do you still have more
Yes,
questions?
I'm done. Thank you.
And that was the last question. Unless there was a question in the chat I missed, raise your hand and we can call on you. I think we got them all.
Mary Riley wants to know if they can get into the testing environment. Did Brandy already answer that? I think we told them. Would we tell them? We told them no.
She said, we do not have an environment for that activity at this juncture. We are moving to production soon.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else, guys? There's a Q&A session on Friday for all these topics. Payroll and time and labor. Latoya, you want to speak to that?
Yes. So we will be having another question and answer session. I want to do a private question and answer session from 3 to 4 for everybody in this particular webinar. So I will be sending out those invites after this meeting. And if you want to join, just go ahead and accept the invite and we'll be there from 3 to 4. And it will be virtual on Teams as well.
And Kim Logan, you put your hand up for a second. Did you still have another question?
Nope, she got it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for your participation. Anything else?
Thank you, Shuba.
You're most welcome, guys. Thank
thanks,
you. We are
everybody.
here to answer questions. If you want to send them over to Lynn to coordinate. And we appreciate you, Scott, for your applause. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks.
You.